Ζήτω η Ελλάδα.
Ζήτω.
Ζήτω το έθνος.
Ζήτω.
Είμαστε όλοι καλά να ξαναγιορτάσουμε.
When the entire world had lost all hope, the Greek people dared to question the invincibility of the German monster, raising against it the proud spirit of freedom. We're here to celebrate that day today. Let's start by asking our president of the committee, George, to come to the microphone.
I know it was a very long day today, and a lot of people had to leave, and they told me they're giving their greetings, and because of the long day, and it was almost 3 o'clock, they had to have their commitments and they had to leave, and they were not able to come with us. Αγαπητοί προσκεκλημένοι και μέλη της Παμμακεδονικής, καλώς ορίσατε. Ladies and gentlemen, dear dignitaries and invited guests, as President, I wish to welcome all of you to the Pan-Macedonian Cultural Center. Αγαπητοί συμπατριώτες, όπως γνωρίζετε, η επέτειος του όχι μνημονεύει την άρνηση της Ελλάδος στις Ιταλικές αξιώσεις που περιείχε το τελεσίγραφο που επιδόθηκε από τον Ιταλό πρέσβη Γκράτσι στον Έλληνα Πρωθυπουργό Ιωάννη Μεταξά την 28 Οκτωβρίου του 1940. Συνέπεια της άρνησης αυτής ήταν η είσοδος της χώρας μας στο Δεύτερο Παγκόσμιο Πόλεμο και η έναρξη του Ελληνο-Ιταλικού πολέμου του 1940. Η ημερομηνία αυτή καθιερώθηκε να εορτάζεται στην Ελλάδα και στην Κύπρο μας κάθε χρόνο ως επίσημη εθνική εορτή και αργία. Επίσης, πολλές ελληνικές κοινότητες, όπως η δική μας παγκοσμίως, γιορτάζει την επέτειο του όχι. Greece's contribution to the World War II was greater than simply defeating the Italian army and shaming fascist leader Benito Mussolini by saying όχι. On the 28th of October 1940, to his demand to allow Italian troops to enter the country. The Greek army fought heroically against the invading Germans in the spring of 1948 as well. And by doing so, they delayed the massive German attack against Russia, thus playing a role in the victory of the Allied forces. It was October 1940 when Hitler's old friend and chief ally Benito Mussolini had foolishly tried to imitate the Führer and achieve battlefield glory by himself by launching a surprise invasion of Greece. We, as Greek Canadians, recognize this special day as Greece and Canada have been and continue to be close allies since World War II. The other special day in modern Greek history is the 25th of March 1821, the beginning of our war of independence against the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, who occupied Greece for more than 400 years. Unfortunately, even today, Erdogan's Turkey projects the same expressionist visions against the Greek islands and Cyprus in the Eastern Aegean and the Mediterranean seas, even though we are both NATO allies. Macedonians played a crucial role in both of those glorious remembrance, and we're happy to share our celebrations today with all of you. Let us remember all those who fought for Greece on this 82nd anniversary for Ochi Day. Thank you for honoring with us and being present with us. Ζήτω η Ελλάς, ζήτω Καναδάς, ζήτω το έθνος.
I'd like to now call up Eric Beacon, Scarborough Agent Court.
Dear friends, it is a pleasure to be here again
this coming to this hall, it has become a tradition after all our 2 marches every year. And I am very happy to be here again to see so many good friends. What is the meaning of today? The meaning is that we should never give up. We should always strive for freedom and democracy, regardless what the odds are. And the Greek people have demonstrated on many occasions, starting from ancient history when the 300 Greeks resisted and stopped the Persian army from invading Greece. And so on, it goes on. The War of Independence, the Ohi announcement. So we have to be always cherishing those principles, the sacrifices of the people throughout centuries who fought for the same principle, democracy, freedom, rule of law. And we cannot take it very easily, because today we see around us, around the world, what's happening. Wars, civil wars, invasions, refugees, millions of refugees around the world. But the most important thing for us, it is the threat coming from the east, from the neighboring country, from Erdogan. 2 days ago, Erdogan made a speech and he laid the new doctrine for Turkey. He called the next century the Turkish century. And of course, when he talks about the Turkish century, he goes back to the old days where the Ottoman Empire occupied Greece, the Middle East, and many of the Balkan states. Today, his belligerent and threatening statements are warning for us that we have to be on guard all the time, because with irrational leader, I would say a dictator, you cannot predict what's going to happen next and what measures he will take, especially when next year it is a presidential election in Turkey, and he is in very dangerous situation, and he is going to hold to the power as a president, and he's going to do anything it takes to keep that power. Recently I was in Greece. I was part of the delegation, PADE delegation, which is the World Interparliamentary Hellenic Association. I had the pleasure of meeting leaders of the Greek community, from the Prime Minister all the way to ministers, etc. And we visited a few islands, Lemnos, Kotsalorizo, Rhodos, and we have seen how the Greek army is prepared, how the Greek army is on guard to protect the sovereign territorial waters and land of Greece. And I am so proud that Greece, who was a few years ago on the verge of bankruptcy, turned out today to be a great country now. All the world powers are clamoring to work with Greece, to establish their relationship with Greece. And having said that, we need also to do our part in the diaspora to sensitize our politicians, our leaders, with the danger of Erdogan. We cannot continue the appeasement policies of Chamberlain, Prime Minister Chamberlain of England, on the verge of the Second World War. The appeasement policy will not work with Erdogan. So the West and the free world should stand by Greece and should call Erdogan to order. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you again, and let's enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Eris. I'd like to now ask Julie de Bryson, MP, Toronto Danforth, to come and speak.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be back here at the Pan-Macedonian Center after the parade. And today, you didn't see us all running in, shivering. It was a beautiful day up there. It was a beautiful day for us to celebrate Greek, an important piece of Greek history, an important part of world history, and the fact that we can stand strong with the lessons that we learned from how the Greeks stood up to tyranny. The Greeks, when they said "Ohi" to Mussolini, they stood up and they said, no, we're going to stand for freedom. We're going to stand up for what is important. And that is a lesson that we build on. And when I say that, we see right now, we see the Ukrainians, they're fighting for freedom against tyranny. We see women in Iran who are being so brave in standing for freedom in their country. And those come from the important lessons that we learned from Greece. And so they might They may not be saying it in the same language, they may not be saying "Ohi," but they're bringing that spirit. And that is the spirit that today we celebrate and we build on. And we are strong allies with Greece. We stand by Greece. We know that their contributions are so important, not just in the past, but going forward. So thank you so much for having us here today to celebrate and to remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Next, I'd like to now ask Peter Tabbins, MPP on Danforth.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, always with good friends, always with good friends. But it's also a very sobering day. I've been attending Ohi Day, I think now for about 30 years. And I would say in the early 1990s, it was more a commemoration of an historic reality. Still, that is there. And the memory of those who sacrificed their lives, whose lives were seized, taken from them, is one that we should never set aside. It has to be part of our consciousness, part of our understanding of what's happened in the world. But as some of my colleagues have said, that beast that set upon Greece in the 1940s, you can hear it again. You can hear the calls for white supremacy. You can hear the anti-Semitism. You can hear people saying, well, women shouldn't be deciding what kind of lives they lead. Those thoughts, those ideas are the heart of fascism, of Nazism. And I wish that they were a part of history, something we read about, told our children about, something we didn't have to deal with. But I'm sure that all of you have heard people, and I'm thinking particularly in the United States, who have been putting forward fascist ideas about crushing democracy, about not respecting elections, about some of those very politicians saying that Jewish space lasers were responsible for forest fires in the United States. The crazy ideas, the poisonous ideas that led civilized nations like Germany to become a beast, that led Italy to disaster. It was Greeks who fought, that were critical to making sure the world stood up the way it needed to stand up against that fascism. We need to take the words of our ancestors, and I'm saying all of us are ancestors of the Greeks who showed that heroism. We need to say "Ohi" to those fascists today. Any color.
Of any color.
All fascism. All fascism. And that is something that we need to take today to honor those who sacrificed their all, who sacrificed for us. Ohi. Ohi to fascism. Thank you all.
Thank you, Peter. Very passionate. I'd like to now call up Paula Fletcher, Councillor, City Councillor, Ward 14.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say I'm very happy to be here today, and as Julie said, what a beautiful day to be together. And so many people came today to be together for this most important day for the Greek community in Toronto. It was a very large march and so many people watching. So that gives me great gladness to have been part of this with you today. I want to just echo the comments of my colleagues, the federal member of parliament, provincial member of parliament. And I also want to thank all of the organizers who put so much time every year, and this year again, to have such a successful Ohi Day here on the Danforth. Thank you. Would you join me celebrating their efforts today, please? Because when Ohi was said, there was so much organizing. It didn't come from above. It came from below. It came from the people who said, no, we will not have this fascism overtake our country. We will not be fueled by hatred and discrimination as fascism was at the Great World War. Remember, this was part of the World War, and Greece stood up in a way that made such a change in the root of that war. And I'm so proud to be with you and be able to stand and say Ohi to fascism, Ohi to those tendencies here that are mirroring that in our society today. We have to stand up against hate and discrimination. That's the lesson for me of Ohi. That's the history that we want to bring forward into today. And I want to celebrate all of the people of Greece, the tremendous resistance against fascism. We should never forget that. It was such a strong resistance from the Greek people that Mussolini and Hitler and everybody else could not turn the tide in the war. And I want to pay tribute to everyone who lost their lives defending democracy, defending Greece, and all the people of Greece that said, Ohi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Paula. And I get now asked Betty Skatakis, President of the Community.
Γεια σας σε όλους. Είναι πολύ μεγάλη η χαρά μου που είμαι εδώ και πάλι μαζί σας, στο σπίτι των Μακεδόνων, όπως γνωρίζετε. Καλώς ανταμώσαμε και καλά να περνάμε. 82 χρόνια μετά γιορτάζουμε και πάλι σήμερα την επέτειο του ιστορικού όρου. Είναι η φωνή μου με τις χαμηλές. 82 χρόνια μετά γιορτάζουμε σήμερα την επέτειο του όχι. Ας αποτιμήσουμε φόρο τιμής και ευγνωμοσύνης στους ήρωες της 28ης Οκτωβρίου 1940. Η θυσία τους ας γίνει για μας χρέος ενότητας και προσήλωση στα ιδανικά της ελευθερίας, της δημοκρατίας, της ισονομίας και της δικαιοσύνης. Ας είναι το μήνυμα της ημέρας της 28ης Οκτωβρίου 1940. Όλοι οι Έλληνες μαζί, με ομοψυχία, πίστη και ορθοδοξία και στραμμένο το βλέμμα μας στα διδάγματα του έπους του 1940. Να διεκδικήσουμε ένα μέλλον λαμπρό και ελπιδοφόρο. Καλούμεθα με ενότητα και ομοψυχία να αντιμετωπίσουμε τις προκλήσεις και με συνέπεια και αποφασιστικότητα να στείλουμε ένα ηχηρό μήνυμα σε όλους όσους επιβουλεύονται την εθνική μας κυριαρχία. Τα είπαμε όλα σήμερα. Νομίζω ότι αυτό το μεγάλο όχι που οι Έλληνες έδωσαν το 1940 θα πρέπει και εμείς και σαν παροικία και σαν ομογένεια απανταχού οι Έλληνες πρέπει να είμαστε ενωμένοι και να δώσουμε και εμείς ένα μεγάλο όχι σε αυτούς που παραμονεύουν τα εθνικά μας συμφέροντα. Εδώ στην κοινότητα και στην Παμμακεδονική νομίζω υπάρχει πλέον, όπως είδαμε σήμερα, μια πολύ ωραία άβρα θα έλεγα που μας ενώνει και θέλω να κλείσω μόνο με αυτό. Μόνο μαζί μπορούμε. Θα πρέπει όλοι να το καταλάβουν. Δεν είναι Παμμακεδονική, δεν είναι κοινότητα, δεν είναι Κρήτες, δεν είναι όλοι. Είναι η Ελλάδα. Θα πρέπει να οργανωθούμε, να κάνουμε ό,τι μπορούμε να βοηθήσουμε την πατρίδα μας, τα παιδιά μας και να προχωρήσουμε όλοι μαζί. Με αυτά τα λίγα που θέλω να τελειώσω και να σας πω ότι εδώ νιώθω χαρίς και είμαι στο σπίτι μου. Σας εκτιμώ και σας αγαπώ όλους και θέλω να ανανεώσετε τις συνδρομές σας στην κοινότητα. Δεν θα σταματήσω να το λέω για να έχετε φωνή, για να και εσείς να παίξετε ρόλο σε αυτά που γίνονται στην κοινότητα. Ενώ σήμερα που θα πάτε στο σπίτι, να ανανεώσετε τις ενδρομές σας ή όταν μπορείτε. Λοιπόν, με αυτά θέλω να κλείσω και να σας πω να είμαστε όλοι καλά και να είμαστε όλοι μαζί. Ευχαριστώ. But I said almost the same thing that you said, all of you. We are proud to be here and proud to be Greeks, and the Orchid Day, everything was exactly the same.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
This ends the formal part of the evening. Help yourself to some donuts, coffee, wine, no cheese, but we got some metaxa there too. They will take care of you. Thank you very much, and thank you to our dignified guests for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.